Shalom and good morning. I see this is really, let me see if my internet is on. Okay. Shalom. This message today is to the Christians. Shalom to you. And shalom, it means peace. The Most High has given me a word to give unto you today, Christians. And the Most High I'm talking about, because you can find this word in the Bible, is the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. I want you to understand whom I'm talking about because there are some Hebrew words I do use. And for those who are a scholar or a student of his word, known as the Bible, you would know that the Bible was given to the Hebrews, known as the Israelites. Today they call them Jews. So some of you may be familiar with the word shalom, okay? A lot of people get that confused with our brother Ishmael, okay? But let me get to the point here because I want you to have a good understanding of this word. Many of you has been deceived by the fourth beast. Do you hear me, Christians? Many of you have been deceived by the fourth beast kingdom that the prophet Daniel talked about in chapter 7 and throughout the whole book. You are under their doctrines, and they did a great job. But they have fulfilled what the word would tell us. But now YAHUAH is bringing us out of darkness and into light and giving us his truth. But this is your test, Christians. See, many of you talk about your heart. Well, after this video, we're going to see where your heart is. YAHUAH going to see where your heart is. For when you say, well, he looks at my heart, you are right. For he knows your true thoughts and your true intentions, the things that man cannot see. So let us begin. Also, I want to give a shalom to the bride of the Messiah, to the 144,000, and to the nation of Israel. For those who have studied his word, you will know there are three groups. Two shall be redeemed from the earth, and the other shall remain in the earth because they have another part to play with the beasts. Okay? So the title of this video is, and I'm going to try to get my phone positioned where it can focus better. I don't know why it's doing that now, but in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Satan, you will not stop me. Yahushua HaMashiach means Christian, the Son of God, who is the Messiah. That's who I'm talking about. I speak a little Hebrew. Christians will never have the correct day of Easter. Christians will never have the correct day of Easter. And you probably say, well, what does this mean, Sister Yitia? What that mean? What it means is the fourth beast have deceived you. What you call Easter does not fall on the correct day. For when we look up the word Easter, because many of you do not know this, it can be found in the book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 4. In the Strong Concordance, number known as G3957. And in the Aramaic term, it means Pesach. But let's go a little further, my brothers and sisters. What is the meaning of Pesach? It means Passover. Okay? Many of you don't even understand what Passover is because the fourth beast church has kept you out of the Old Testament, which they should not have. Because many of you do not know there are many biblical prophecies that are written in the Old Testament that has not come to its fullness. Okay? So Easter actually means Passover. So now that we have the understanding, I'm going to use the word Passover in place of Easter. Okay? But what you do not know is Paul, who y'all often go to justify the doctrines of the fourth beast, even kept Passover himself. Read 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and Hebrews chapter 11, because many of you recognize Passover as the Lord's Supper. Okay? Isn't it ironic that when you keep what you call the Lord's Supper, also the word communion, also in the Greek tongue, koinonia, okay, you are actually keeping Passover under the instructions of the Messiah. For now we are in the new covenant, keeping it in spirit and in spirit and in truth. Let me say that again because my tongue got twisted. Now we are keeping what you call the Lord's Supper, also known as communion. In the Greek tongue, koinonia. Okay? What you are keeping is Passover under the instructions of the Messiah, based in the new covenant. For now, we are keeping it in spirit and in truth. But what you do not know is the Most High has not put away his holy days, nor his holy feast days. But we'll talk about that later on in this video. Here is the error why you would never have the correct day of Easter. Never. Here we have the fourth beast calendar, known as the Gregorian calendar. Now, this calendar is, when you see the events listed, is based on America time zone, okay? So it may slightly different from the East, all right, far as time. But far as the day on the calendar, it would be the same for those who follow the Gregorian calendar. But here I want you to notice, this is dealing with the month of April. You can partially see here. Let me get my phone position. I'm going to take this out. Let me take this out, because I want you to see this calendar well. This is April 2019. So this is a projection of what day you will have Easter, known as Passover. Now, in the fourth beast kingdom, y'all keep Good Friday, okay? And on the Gregorian calendar, it says April the 20th is the first day of Passover. And then on April the 28th, which falls on your day, Sunday, April the 21st, which fall on your day known as Sunday, is Easter Sunday, okay? Take a good look. Here's the error that you have, because y'all don't follow the Bible, okay? When you go to the book of Genesis, it tells you that when the Most High made everything, he gave man time indicators to understand about time. What are these times indicators, Christians? You can find it in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. For the Father said that he has given us those three lights in the firmament of the heaven to be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. Now, what are those three lights? Because I know the fourth beast church is not teaching you. See, when you read the new covenant, and when you read his word, you will learn that his spirit is your teacher, not a man. And when you allow the spirit to teach you, you will understand these divine mysteries, just as Paul did, okay? So, what are the three lights, Christians? They are the sun, the moon, and Mazarah. Now, that word Mazarah can be found in the book of Job, and it's a Hebrew word to mean the 12 signs. Today, the Gentiles call it the zodiac. When you read the work of Josephus, he would confirm to you what I'm saying to you, Christians. It's many stuff you don't understand. So now that we know that these three lights makes up his calendar, the sun, the moon, and Mazarah. So, what did that mean for the Gregorian calendar? Well, if you understand the history of the Gregorian calendar, going from the ancient Roman calendar, going to the Judean calendar, now going to the Gregorian calendar, you will learn that the Roman calendar, who is the fourth beast, never followed the circuits of the heavens. And here's the proof for those who keep a record of the Most High calendar. Did you not know the new year begins in spring? After the sun entered the first day of Mazzaroth, the next day is the first day of spring. And this day will fall in between the heathen month, known as Satan's calendar, between March and April. So your new year don't begin in January. That's another mistake. Here's another error in their calendar. The day begins from sundown to sundown because our Father is the Father of lights. But in Satan's calendar, his day begins from midnight to midnight, from darkness to darkness. Another thing that you did not understand because you've been indoctrinated by the fourth beast. His month is dictated by the moon. The moon lets you know when the month begins and ends. Again, they don't follow the moon, they follow the sun. But again, they don't even have the correct days of the sun in their month because they don't follow the circuits of the heavens. The sun works with Mazzaroth to tell you when the seasons begin to end. And the seasons I'm talking about are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now, when you study the Heathens calendar, known as Satan calendar, which is the Gregorian calendar, you will learn that when they have 366 days, that's not correct. It's actually 365 and a quarter. When you read the prophet Enoch writings in his first and second book. See, these are the books that the heathens took out, but my Yah, and Yah means the same. You can find it in Psalm 68, verse 4. But my Yah, my God in heaven, had his prophets to tell you these sacred things about his calendar. But as the Messiah said to Lazarus in hell, they have the prophets and they have the word. So if you reject the prophets and his word, guess what? You're going to believe a lie. This is what's happening to you Christians because you're not reading the whole volume of the book. Did not the Messiah come in the whole volume of the book? Read Matthew chapter 18. For he said, I came to fulfill the law, not to put away the law, but to fulfill it. And the mystery on that, I'm going to give that to you now. You want to write this down. When you read Galatians chapter 4 and the whole volume of the book, what that means is that the law is no longer your teacher, your master, your ruler. See, it's been replaced now because in the law, there was no room for grace and mercy. So whatever transgression you committed, it had to be carried out. The judgment had to be carried out without no mercy and grace. But now we are under the Messiah, for he now is our judge, our ruler, our teacher, our master. And through him, this is why you have grace and mercy. A mystery that many do not understand. What does it mean that the law has been fulfilled? A mystery that many do not understand. But let's get back on track here. Okay. So this is how you know you don't have the correct day, or what we call Easter, which is Passover. On the heathens calendar, which is the 19th of April, 2019, you have that day known as Good Friday. Now tell me where you see Good Friday in the Bible. Tell me. Okay. So this is a projection of the moon because the moon dictates to us his holy days. And we're going to go to Exodus chapter 12 to prove unto you what I'm saying. Okay. So on the heathen's day, on April 19th, at sundown, that would be the 14th day of the moon. This is the day when the Messiah kept Passover. It starts at evening at sundown. For you to understand Passover and how it's kept, you got to read Torah. My brothers and sisters, Christians, do you hear me? You got to read that Old Testament to understand how the Messiah kept Passover. So Passover for this year, this is a projection. We wait for the confirmation. We wait to see the new moon, which is the sliver of the crescent, or what the prophet Enoch tells us. The silver of the crescent, which is the beginning of the light on the moon, is the first day of the moon. And when the moon have no light upon her, that is the end of the month. But let us keep going. So the first projection of the day that we have Passover is on April the 19th at sundown, which is known as Aviv 14. And it ends on April the 20th at sundown. Okay. Now, those who have read the gospel, you will learn that the Messiah was crucified on Aviv 14th. All right. And then the next day was the Sabbath day. And the Sabbath day I'm talking about is the seventh day of the Most High, Yah, the day of rest. This is why they had to hurry up and put his body in a new tomb. You hear me? Before the Sabbath day came in, because it was a day of rest. Now, here's another thing that you don't know that we're about to discuss. This is in Torah. What day did the Messiah rose? Because the words say that he would be in Sheol. He would be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Here's another mystery that many do not understand. Did you not know let me go back to this day, on Aviv 14th, that a day happened within a day? Go back and read the gospel and you will see what I'm talking about. A day happened within a day. And remember, time is different for the Most High. What we say is a day, he can change it. He makes his own rules and own standards. To understand what I'm talking about, look at the time when Moses went into the mountain of Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. And when you read a word, you will learn that Moses went into the mountain after the morning activities, but yet that first day was counted as a day. That's what I'm talking about. We got to understand what the Most High is saying. But he fulfilled, the Messiah fulfilled a being in Sheol, which is in the heart of the earth, okay, which man today call hell. And in Sheol you have Abraham's bosom, and you had hell. Go back and read what the Messiah say. Even Josephus talk about this. In the Greek tongue, they say Hades, but in the Hebrew tongue, we say Sheol. Okay. So, and as you can see here, the Father want me to bring this out. Notice how his day overlap in the heathen day. We go from sundown to sundown. This is when his day beginning to end. We don't go from darkness to darkness. But now let's get to Aviv 16. And Aviv, I'm talking about, I spell it for you so you can see it, how the word is spelled, because we got to learn these sacred things. And you probably say, why? Did you not know we're going to keep these things in the new eternal kingdom, in the new heaven and the new earth? Hint, hint, Christian, it's going to be a new earth. These are the things that the fourth beast kingdom is not going to teach you, that the fourth beast church is not going to teach you. Okay, but the Messiah rose on Aviv 16, and the work of Josephus will confirm what I'm about to tell you now. Did you not know the Israelites, the Jews, had to bring an offering of the first fruits of the barley harvest? See, when you learn the old covenant, you will learn that these holy days, holy feast days, was a foreshadowing of what is, what was, and what is yet to come. It is to give you understanding what the Messiah will do and what he, it would give you understanding what the Messiah did do and what he will do. So here's what you don't understand. The Aviv 16 is the day when the Jews, the Israelites, put the first fruits of the barley harvest. It represented how the Messiah would be the first one, the first fruit of the resurrection. Do you hear? Do you see how the carnal go in hand with the spiritual? Do you see this? And Aviv 16, notice here, starts at sundown on April the 21st. Now, forgive my phone. I know it's fuzzy because the devil's trying not to let you hear the truth on this. Okay? But in the name of YAHUAH HaMashiach, Satan, I bind you, not today. My Father, truth will go forth throughout the four corners of the earth. You will not prevail in this. The Father, truth, shall overcome. In the name of YAHUAH HaMashiach, so be it. So as you see here, on April the 21st, in the year of 2019, on the Heathens calendar, the day that the Messiah resurrected actually won't be at sundown, because you know he risen in the dawn time before the rising of the sun. Okay, so shalom, sis. So Aviv 16 starts on this year on the Heathens calendar on April the 21st at sundown, and went in on April the 22nd at sundown. So my question to you, Christians, how can you have Easter Sunday? How can you say the Messiah rose on Easter Sunday morning? That's not correct. For the heavens tell you when he arose. He arose on Aviv 16th, okay? He arose in the dawn phase. When I say dawn, that's the light that we see in the morning before the rising of the sun. He rose in the daylight phase, in the dawn phase. So Aviv 16th for this year falls on the Heathens Day, falls on Satan Day on April the 21st at sundown, and it shall end on April the 22nd at sundown. Do you see why you would never have the correct day for what you call, quote unquote, Easter, which is Passover? You would never have it because you are not following the instructions of our Father in heaven. You are following the fourth beast's instructions, his doctrines. Okay. And I know many of y'all, when y'all hear this, it's not going to feel good to your ears. It's not going to feel good to your flesh because you want to keep these pagan days. You want to keep their traditions. But that's your test with your heart. The Father going to see, the Father's going to see, do you really love me? Do you want to follow my instructions, not man instructions, not Satan instructions? See, this is where you're going to get tested. This is where you're going to be tested, Christians. Where's your heart? Because Messiah said in Matthew chapter 5, there will be those who be called great in the kingdom, and there will be those that called least in the kingdom. Here's another proof I want to give you. In the video description box, it's a lot of good sources that you can look at that talks about the Most High counter. But also the Most High has spoken himself to the 12 tribes of Israel. He has spoken to the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Read those prophetic messages, Christians, because I'm telling you, your pastor's not going to tell you the truth because they too have been indoctrinated by the fourth beast. See, it's a great deception going on. And the only way to break this deception, Christians, you're going to have to get in his word. You're going to have to read and study, but you're going to have to be under his spirit, under the comforter to teach you. That's the only way, as we say, to get in a matrix. See, you are in a matrix. You have been lied to. You have been duped, Christians, and it's time for you to wake up. Okay, now let's go to the word. Also in the video description box, there's a video that talks about the Gregorian calendar, and that video is addressed to the Israelites of today who are awakened because they too are keeping the Most High Sabbath day based on the Gregorian calendar and not based on Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. Check the video description box or look to the right hand corner of this video with the letter I, and you will see the video that pertains to the 1582 and the 1752 era, because your days are all mixed up. You don't even have the correct day of the week according to the heathens format. These things go deep, Christians. And it's time, I say it's time again for you to wake up. Now, here's the proof I want to go in the word, because this is what they're not teaching you. They teaching y'all don't have to keep these holy days. Now, here's the mystery that many don't understand about how we keep these holy days. The Messiah said in John chapter 4, we shall worship the Father who is a spirit and in truth. See, we keep a memorial of these days because we know by our hand we cannot keep all these holy feast days and holy days perfectly. In other words, we can't cross every T and dot every I. But he who dwells in us makes us able to keep Torah, make us able to keep the holy days and holy feast days perfectly, because he dwells in us. And when you understand who he is, who is the Messiah, when you understand who he is the second Adam who kept Torah perfectly. He came from Torah. He is Torah. He is that word you see in the paper, for he is the living word. He is the spirit. And he crossed every T and dot every I. See, Christians, you don't understand this. Everything that he did in the gospel was a reflection of Torah. Okay? He did not break Torah, he fulfilled Torah. And he was the only lineage of Adam to do this. That's why he called the second Adam, because he set the example of what we should follow and what we should become. Hint, hint. What shall we become? A mystery that many don't understand. You got to go back to the beginning. Did not Adam fall? So Adam had to be redeemed back to the Most High. But how? When you know who Adam is, because the word tell you, is not Adam the son of God? So he lost his royal place. Okay, he lost his status, but through the Messiah shall redeem us back to the status. And when you understand what that status is and why you were called the sons of God and the daughters of God, when you understand that, do you understand what 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 4 is talking about? You shall attain your crown of glory that shall never fade away. See, he's restoring what you lost. See, there's three parts to this regeneration: born of the water, born of the spirit, and what about the body? What should your body be changed to? He restoring you back to that body that we lost. Hint, hint. Okay, now let's go to the prophets, because like the Messiah said, he has given us the prophets. And if you reject the prophets, guess what? You will believe a lie. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 66. And there's another prophet I want to take. Well, there's two more of the prophets I want to take you to, because I know these so-called scholars of today, they're going to lie. They're going to twist the word and say, nah, you ain't got to keep it. But the word said there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. And the prophet says, and these prophets says, we're going to keep these holy days and holy feast days. It's coming. You're going back to the instructions of Torah. See, this is the things they're not telling you. Okay, Isaiah chapter 66. And we're going to look at verse 22 and read down. For as the new heavens, hint, see, we got new heavens, okay, that is to come. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith YAHUAH. So shall your seed and your name remain. So what he's talking to the Israelites. See, Israel has not been put away. The Israelites has not been put away. The Hebrew Israelites have not been put away. The Hebrews have not been put away. I'm saying all these different terms because we have many names. But today, most of the time, the word called us Jews. Okay? So as you see in the word, his prophet is telling you, the prophet Isaiah is telling you, there's going to be new heavens and new earth to be made. So you need to ask yourself, who's going to be in the new heaven and who's going to be in the new earth? See, these are the things that the churches is not teaching you of the fourth beast kingdom. But when you understand the three groups, the bride of the Messiah, the 144,000, and the nation of Israel, when you understand these three groups, then you will learn who would be in the heavens and who would be in the new earth. But let us keep going. Verse 23, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Most High Yah, saith YAHUAH, saith the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Now he's telling you that all flesh, all of Adam, shall come and worship him on the new moon days, on the Sabbath days. He's telling you this, Christians. So you know our fathers are saying. So why when you get to the new covenant, y'all want to think that it's changed? It didn't change. But the only thing that has changed, we are transitioning from the carnal to the spiritual. Because the Father knew you cannot keep this by your hand. We are in the fourth beast kingdom. And the fourth beast kingdom is doing the same thing as Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. He was a wicked Greek king who kept the people of the Most High from keeping the covenant. Yes. And the fourth beast is doing the same thing. Just as Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes made the people eat pork. I'm just giving an example, Christians. So this kingdom here, they putting pork in the food. Okay. They are deceiving you. They say it's okay. But it's the reason why the Father didn't want you to eat pork, Christian. It will kill you. It will affect your health. See, when you understand that his instructions will give you eternal life, his instructions will give you life, his instructions will take away those things that will make your health bad. When you understand that love that Torah was teaching you, then you will understand our Father. See, the reason why he tells us not to do certain things is to help us, not to burden us, but to help us. A mystery that many do not understand, because when you don't come in the whole volume of the book, you won't learn about your Father in heaven. You won't have his knowledge, his wisdom, and his understanding for it. He said through his prophet Isaiah, he said, my ways is not your ways, and my thoughts is not your thoughts, for I am the most high Yah. I am on a higher level than you, Adam. So we got to go to him, and we have to allow or submit ourselves to his spirit to teach us. We got to come out of the darkness and into the light. And the only way is through this word. It's going to break it. It's going to get you out the matrix. So now let's go to the prophet Zechariah. Here's another proof before I take you to the big shebang. Okay. The prophet Zechariah also talks about how all the nations of the earth shall keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And we're going to see what will happen when they don't keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, let's see. This is in the New Kingdom. Zechariah chapter 14. Hopefully my phone will come into view. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all nations which come against Jerusalem or YAHUAH shall even go from year to year to worship the King, YAHUAH of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Do you hear that? Every year, all the nations shall keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Let us keep going. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto YAHUAH to worship the King, YAHUAH of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Now you probably say, well, what's that's going to do? When the Father take us into his new eternal kingdom, all this stuff we doing now, we ain't going to have. We're going back to his way. And I love his way because it's not stressful. We are going to be working the earth. Now, when you have no rain, for those who don't understand agriculture, when you have no rain, guess what? You have no crops. You can't eat. So not only do you suffer, but your beasts will suffer. For those who don't understand what the purpose of the beasts are that our Father had given unto us, the beast is to help us with our work. It's in the book. I think it's in the book of Psalms or the book of Proverbs, but the Most High made the beast to help us with our work. But when you look in the fourth beast kingdom, everything is turned upside down. We are in confusion. This is why we are stressed out. This is why we have a short life, because we are out of order. We're not following the Father instructions. Some people you can look at who are striving, I ain't gonna say they're perfect now, who are striving, who are aiming. You can look at the Amish, and I think it's the Midianites. They have returned to the ways of the Most High. Okay, as far as with some of his instructions, I'm not saying they perfect in all his instructions, but I'm saying some. We was made to work the earth. Go back to the beginning of the book. Was not Adam made to sow the earth, to plow the earth? Okay, so now that we are out of order and we're following the doctrines of the fourth beast, this is why many of us have a short life. This is why many of us are stressed out, depressed, and the list go on and on, because we have all these burdens upon us. And when you keep their holy days, when you keep the Satan holidays, you will notice that people are in burden. They are in captivity because they constantly have to spend money to show love. Well, they think if they spend money, it show love. But see, the Most High don't have you in that burden. He know how to throw a feast, such as Passover, known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It is an 8-day feast. He is the inventor of the cookout. Okay, when you study Torah, you will understand all of that about him. Everything comes from him, but Satan just copy it and perverse it. And the Most High talks about that in the prophetic message that's listed in the box that I told you to read, which is this one. Okay. He talks about that in his prophetic messages. He says that Satan copies him. He has nothing of his own. And we know whatever Satan copies of the Father, he perverts it. Okay. So if they're given no rain, they would have no crop, they would not eat, and they would suffer. Okay, let us keep going. Verse 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, they have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith YAHUAH will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacle. So he ain't playing. If the heathens don't come up and keep this feast, he's going to smite them with a plague. Now, to understand the prophecy with Egypt, I want you to read Isaiah chapter 19, because it's the divine thing that the Most High going to do for Egypt, as well as for Israel, and as well as for Assyria. Isaiah 19. Verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. So, as you see here, the Most High Yah spoke through his prophet. He ain't playing. You're going to keep it. Do you hear that, Christians? You're going to keep it. You're going to keep this. What's done in heaven is also done on earth. When you read the book of Jubilees that was written by Moses, Moses was given this divine knowledge. You will learn that what we do in the earth, also they do in the heavens. Another mystery that many do not understand. Now let's go to the prophet Ezekiel. The prophet Ezekiel give you the plan, or what would take place in the new eternal kingdom in the earth. Okay, I'm gonna say this again. The prophet Ezekiel will give you the plan that will take place in the new eternal kingdom in the earth. And when you read these chapters, my brothers and sisters, you will get a better understanding. So you will have to start with chapter 40 and end with chapter 48. Okay. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right chapter. Chapter 40, and you will have to end with chapter 48. Okay. And I'm only going to read some. I'm not going to read a lot, because Ezekiel gives you the formula for his calendar, which I'm going to show you what his calendar look like. It's based on the 3 lights, but you can read Ezekiel chapter 46. But there's something interesting that Ezekiel has said that would take place in his new eternal kingdom. And this is what you're not understanding. Okay. Let me see. Can I find it right quick? Bear with me. When you read, I'm just going to point this out to you. When you read Ezekiel chapter 46, you will learn that when the Most High bring the temple that he has prepared in the heavens, in that temple, that's where we'll come and keep these holy feast days, such as the new moon days, the Sabbath days, and the solemn feast days, such as Passover, Pentecost, and you will find this in Ezekiel chapter 44. And I want to read verse 23 through 24. This is something that you don't know, but it's in Torah. See, those who come in the whole volume book will understand what Ezekiel is talking about. Okay. I'm in Ezekiel chapter 44, and we're going to read verse 23 to 24. Okay. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause men to discern between the unclean and the clean. And in controversy, they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all my assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. So when you come in the whole volume of the book, you will learn that the Levites, and dealing with the lineage of Aaron, because the lineage of Aaron is the high priest, okay, they would teach the people what is clean and unclean, what is holy and unholy, what is sin and not sin, what is a transgression of the law and what is not, and it go on and on and on. Okay, now the righteous line of the Levites or the lineage of Zazah. When you read Ezekiel chapter 43, you will learn that Zazah would be the only ministers unto the Most High. These are Israelites, okay? And the rest of the Levites would bear their shame because they led the Most High people away from him. They led them into idolatry. So they would bear their shame in the new eternal kingdom, and they can only minister unto the people. But the lineage of Zadok will minister unto the Most High. Okay, do you see how our Father is the same? He don't change. But we have to understand what the word is saying. And I know language can be a stumbling block to many. And this is why many of us go back to the original language and we look these things up to get the true meaning. Because as you can see, English is a heathen language. And I'm going to use this for example. The word God. How the tares blend. And because they do the things as you do, you think they are for the Most High Yah. Okay. But when we use terms like God, it's a very broad term because the word teaches us there are many gods, just as there are many lords. All right. So the word God is a very broad term. We learn through his word that our Father in heaven does have a name. His name is YAHUAH. And that means I'm he who exists. Just like with his son. His son name is YAHUSH. That means I'm he who shall deliver or he who shall save. So when you learn Hebrew, you will learn that words have a meaning. It represents what that being is. It represents what our Father is, represent what the Son is. And you will learn that Hebrew was the language spoken by mankind before the Tower of Babel. Again, the book of Jubilees will confirm this unto you, as well as the book of the Apocrypha will confirm this unto you, Christians. So I'm just giving you a little bit. It's so much that you do not know and do not understand because of what the fourth beast churches have done. All of them is an extension of Rome. And you probably say, no, it's not. Yes, it is. When you study your history of how your church began and follow the leader or your founder of your church, just go back and trace. It will all lead back to Rome. And this is how you know. If you keep in Sunday and you following the Gregorian calendar and you keeping these pagan days such as Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and many more, you have been indoctrinated because these things are not from the Most High Yah. The prophets don't even talk about that. The prophets tell you about his holy days and holy feast days. These are the things that you do not understand. And the last thing that the Father want me to remind you is, this is the next question, as we just read this verse here. How do you know what is sin, Christian? How do you know what is good and evil in the sight of the Most High Yah? How do you know what is holy unto God and what is not holy? How do you know? And many of you are coming from the world definition when we have the word here. And the Old Testament, really the whole volume of the book, because they support one another, they don't contradict one another, tells you what is good and evil in the sight of the Most High, tells you what is sin to the Father. Because if you say that we're not under the law no more, let me correct that. If you say that the law has been done away with, then there's no sin, because the law is what tells you what is sin. See, this is what you don't understand. When you tell your fellow brothers and sisters that the law is done away with, you have given them a card to do wickedness in the sight of the Most High eyes. So you have to get an understanding of what the instructions are. Okay. Yes, some things did change. And the Messiah told you what changed. But then there's some things that did not change. When you understand what the new covenant does, Christians, let me break this down and keep it simple so you can understand what it means. Our Father in heaven had to create a better way for you to be accepted, for you to come into the new eternal kingdom, for he foresaw what the fourth beast kingdom /church will do unto you. Okay? Do you not know in Torah we have what we call a sin of ignorance offering? This is why YAHUAH wink at your ignorance. That's written in Acts chapter 17, verse 29 through 30. He winked at that, okay? Because he knew you would be deceived by Satan. And it fulfilled biblical prophecy. The word has become true. So by knowing this, by our Father knowing this, he sent his son in the earthly realm to make a new covenant so you will have a better way to come in. This is why we have the circumcised and the uncircumcised in the body of the Messiah, known as the bride. This is why. Because he knew what the fourth beast would do. They would set snares for you, traps for you, because they don't want you to keep the covenant. They don't want you to keep Torah. They don't want you to follow the instruction of the word. Do you see what's going on here? See, this thing is really big, Israelites and Gentiles. This is really big here. We are in a great spiritual battle here. And we are in the middle of this battle. See, what this battle is about, Satan and his angels and those evil spirits that have joined unto Satan already know that their time is short. They know where they're going. And that's the word say that the Father made hell for the angels, okay? So they know where they're going. They also know that we are the Most High, greatest prize, greatest possession, because we are made in his image. We was made to look like him, think like him, talk like him, walk like him, to have his judgments, his statutes, his mores, his ethics. Do you see? In other words, we were to have his character. So they knew that we was his greatest possession, okay? So to get back at him, what their objective is, they want to bring us down with them to hell. But Father say, no, no, no. They are mine. They belong to me. Do you hear that, Israelites and Gentiles? We belong to our Creator in heaven. We don't belong to Satan. But you have to choose whom you want to serve this day. See, that's how, I love him. He gives you a choice. He said, either you can come to me, my children, or you can choose Satan. Either you can choose life or you can choose death, which is Satan. So this is the battle that's going on. It goes so deep. So Christians, it's so much you have to learn. And I'm asking you, stop putting down the Israelites, because I know about the bad apples, but there's some good apples of us out here. See, when you study the word and you study the work of Josephus, you will learn just as what happened then is happening now. It's nothing new underneath the sun. There's many sects of us. Some of us are in righteousness and some of us are not. But just because we have some bad apples, do not put away what we're telling you. Do not mock us, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff you don't understand. And how can I say this so you can really understand this, so you can really grasp this? It's so much you don't know that is in this Bible. And when you laugh at us or you come with your doctrines, the other books, the other scholars, and I look at y'all and I shake my head, I say, y'all don't get it because you're not under the teaching of the Spirit. You're not under the Comforter. And this is why you say these things. And when you say these things, guess who hear it? Our Father in heaven. He is writing and recording everything down that you say, that you think, that you do on social media, that you do on the internet. He sees all and hears all, Christians. And it's time out for the foolishness. It is time to do our Father will in heaven, Christians. It is time to give his truth. And know his truth is not going to make you feel good, but it's going to set you free. And it's going to get you out of these burdens. And when you submit yourself to his instructions, you're going to love it, because I love it. Because guess what? I'm not stressed out. I don't have to buy birthday gifts because that's of Satan. That's of the heathens. That's of the Gentile customs. I don't have to worry about Christmas gift. See, I show love throughout the whole year, according to the word. When I see something for somebody, I go ahead and get it. I don't have to wait for no day. Because the word tells us to love thy neighbor as thyself and to love the Most High with everything we got. And I do it throughout the whole year. See, I don't have to wait for a specific day. And I learned to put my Father first and not myself before him, because that's what a birthday is. You worship in yourself. It's all about me, I, which is the spirit of pride. The spirit of pride get upon you. So when you understand these things, because even Josephus would tell you, the Jews didn't keep birthdays. So when you put away these things that the heathens have taught you, that the fourth beasts have taught you, you will appreciate that you no longer do these things because you're not under these burdens anymore. You're not in debt. You're not trying to work overtime, to pay off these unnecessary bills. And when you keep his holy days, what it does, it brings us together so we become a united family. Okay? We become a united family. And we show the love of Yah. The same love our Father given to us, we show it to each other. And how do we show that love? How do you love one another, Christians? The law teach you. We love one another by what? By not lying to one another, by not bearing false witness, by not coveting, okay? By not committing adultery, by not stealing. Do you see where I'm going with this? That's how we love one another. How do we love our Father in heaven? By not serving other gods, by not making images of things that's in the heaven and earth, by not using his name in vain, by keeping his Sabbath. That's how we show love. So we got to come out of the ways of this world. We got to come out of the ways of the fourth beast kingdom that Daniel talks about. So I done preached enough today. I done said enough. I truly hope, Christians, you understand what I'm saying here. I really do. Because I have just proven unto you, you will never have the correct day of what you call Easter. And I got to do this. I got to do this because you got to understand this. You would never have the correct day of Passover. Never. Because you're not following the instructions of what our Father in heaven gave you. See, as it's it, and the Messiah say this too. You can see it. It's in the book of Mark. You put the doctrines of men before the doctrines of our Father in heaven, and it shows. It shows. So, you would never have the correct day, Christians, because you don't follow Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And I just proved to you that this heathen's calendar, the Satan calendar, will never give it to you. For our day begin from sundown to sundown, not from midnight to midnight. Our year began in spring, not winter, not January. Okay? And thank you, Father, for reminding me. He want me to take you to Exodus chapter 12, because he said this himself to the Jews, to the Israelites. Our Father said this through the prophet Moses. So my question to you is, are you going to take what the word tell you, what the prophets tell you, or are you going to take what these heathens are telling you? Exodus chapter 12. Turn there quickly right now. This ain't going to take long, because the Father spoke this to the prophet Moses. He said, and YAHUAH spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, the month, he said, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So what is the first month of the year unto us, Christians? It is Aviv. Aviv. Now, where's your heart? I want to see where your heart is. Will you continue to remain in the fourth beast kingdom? Will you continue to keep their calendar and not the Most High calendar? That is a test for your heart. Well, I done preached enough. I done said enough. All right, Israelites and Gentiles, continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For we can see the signs in the heaven and in the earth. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, verse 8. For the Most High have revealed unto us who are the Gentiles and who are the Israelites, and in salvation both can receive. For the word taught us that Adam is a Gentile, Abraham is a Gentile, Isaac is a Gentile, Ishmael is a Gentile, Esau is a Gentile, and even the Messiah, when he went down to Sheol to preach unto the captives, he offered repentance to Jezebel, but she refused. So make sure that people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10. For when you receive the salvation and the righteousness of YAHUAH, who is the Messiah, once you receive him, then you have received our Father and the Ruach HaKodesh, who is the 7 eyes and 7 spirits. Okay? Once you receive the Messiah, then they abide in you. And through the Spirit, which is them, they shall teach you all things that will give you eternal life. Hallelujah. And make sure the people are baptized in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah and the Son of God. Make sure they are baptized in his name. For he set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism. And the apostles continued them both. And all of them kept these holy days. They kept it in spirit and in truth, admission that many do not understand. For we are waiting for that appointed day to come, when we shall keep all of these holy days. We shall keep the new moons and the Sabbath days and his solemn feast days. We shall keep them perfectly in the new kingdom that is to come, which is the new heavens and the new earth. Shalom. And do you know who that peace is? Read Matthew chapter 10, verse 12 to 13, the book of Luke, chapter 24, verse 36, and read Psalms 119, for the Hebrew letters are listed. Shalom.